Good morning. Welcome to Baseball and Coffee. This is the second live stream of this show. I am Adam Ottavino, your host. I didn't get to watch a lot of baseball last night. I had to take an emergency 2-hour drive to Pennsylvania, 2 hours back to deal with something for my daughter. That being said, I was paying attention a little bit. I saw my Mets had a nice comeback, Lindor and Polar Bear, with homers in the eighth to kind of tie it up. They ended up winning it in extras. There was a lot of kooky stuff that happens. We're going to get into that, so we're going to go with a few different topics. But today, I want to start with the ghost runner and the 10th inning and how this kind of affects you mentally as a late inning relief pitcher who might have to pitch in these games. Last night, there was a really good example of something that I've been thinking about for a long time, ever since they instituted the rule. And that is that it is a slight advantage to be the road team once you reach extra innings with the ghost runner rule. So I'm going to shoot us over to the main screen here. And we are going to get into this. This was Houston and Cleveland last night. Josh Hader, one of the best relief pitchers in baseball, pitched the ninth inning and had a fairly clean inning. He got a ground out, a strikeout, give up a single to Rocchio, ended up getting Kwan to ground out. So I had a scoreless ninth, and Houston was unable to win it in the bottom of the ninth against, I believe this is Junis. Yeah, Junis did a good job of holding tight, and then it reached extra innings. Now, one of the issues I've always had with this rule change ever since it came in is that it does tip the favor ever so slightly into the visiting team. Statistically, the visiting team has had a 53% chance of winning the game once it goes into extra innings since the ghost runner rule was implemented. And I think I know why, and I think this is a really good time to be able to demonstrate this. All right, so let's go into the iPad, and we're going to look at how the top of the 10th inning played out. Hader's on the mound. Game is tied. There's a ghost runner on second.
An at bat here. He popped
Cleveland immediately bunts,
and he gets it down.
sacrificing it out to move the runner over to third.
Makes the throw to first.
All right, so you got one out, man on third. Now don't forget,
you don't often play for
even if Kwan scores, Houston still has a chance to tie the game up or win it in the bottom half because they also have a runner at second when this inning begins. And this is where the psychology gets interesting. Hader and the Astros decide to sell out to not allow that run to score. It's an interesting strategy, and in this case, it does eventually backfire, but they decide to completely sell out. They go ahead and they intentionally walk, which they don't even show the videos for that, but they intentionally walk Jose Ramirez to set up a double play situation, but also just because he's a great hitter, and that brings up Carlos Santana. So here's the Carlos Santana at bat.
Strikeout or a ground ball. First pitch.
Josh starts him off with a chase slider that he doesn't bite on. Santana is known as being one of the most patient hitters in the league.
Runner 90 feet closer.
Throws him another chase slider.
Double play, take it out.
So as a pitcher here, and you see Ramirez move up and take second. So now the double play's gone, and now we're looking for either a strikeout, an infield pop-up, or a walk if you're going to sell out to not let that run score, because now you're kind of committed to that strategy. Now you have a man on second. A single's going to give up 2 runs and post a crooked number. And then Clase or whoever comes in for the Guardians, they're not going to have to worry about that runner at all. So really in this spot, this is where you kind of have to pick your poison. Do you just pretend that runner doesn't exist, and if he scores, you know you have a chance to equal in the bottom half of the inning, or do you go all out to try to not let that run score and set yourself up for winning? So that's the strategy that Houston has chosen and Josh has chosen in this situation. And now he's got a 2-0 count with second and third, 1 out. Not ideal. Very patient hitter in Santana.
Second.
So let's see
what
happens here. He does throw a fastball, but he nibbles with it. Can't afford to go right down the middle here. You got to try to get the hitter to swing at a tough pitch when you're using this strategy. And Santana does a good job laying off.
Hitter on deck.
And they're going to do it again on 3-0. Ends up missing wide. So now it's a 4-pitch walk, and we got bases loaded. All right, so now you got bases loaded and 1 out. And the situation is you're going to need a double play ball, which is almost impossible because Hader's a fly ball or strikeout pitcher. So you're asking him to now pitch in a style that he can't really do. Or you have to get the infield pop-up or the strikeout. So he's going to sell out to be as nasty as he possibly can to try to stop this from happening. Only issue is any single here is going to score multiple runs. Any ball in the gap is going to probably score 3 runs, and a ball over the fence is 4 runs. And that ends up being the crooked number that kind of puts the game out of reach, where the other closer can come in and they can just kind of do their thing and not have to worry about the runner. And that's why this is a very much walking a tightrope situation type of strategy, and something that I personally don't believe in. I think you should just pretend that that runner doesn't exist. If you end up in a situation with 2 outs and a runner on third, say, okay, you bear down, try to get that third out, and keep it scoreless. But sometimes the pursuit of this perfect inning, this fantastic job, straining that runner, ends up leaving you exposed for a potential crooked number. So now you got this 1-out situation, and you got Jonathan Rodriguez coming up. Hader has to go into what I call FU mode, and this is something that you have to go in sometimes as a relief pitcher, where you really just have to say strikeout or bust. I'm throwing my nastiest stuff. I'm throwing it on the edges. I'm going to try to use your aggression against you and hope you strike out, and I'm going to leave it all out there. And so let's see how this at-bat progresses.
Rodriguez is hit with the bases loaded, and he takes a strike.
Little first pitch slider. Goes for the chase. So once he gets ahead in the count, very likely that Josh is going to try to make him chase from here on out in the at-bat, and that's what he does with the 0-1. He goes for a high pitch. I don't expect him to give in much on the 1-1. I think if he was going to throw a pitch for a strike, it'd probably be a slider. So let's see what he goes with. He does go with the slider. Doesn't give in. Throws it for chase. Ball down. 2-1 count. Hitter's in the driver's seat. Josh is not going to give in. That's what great closers do. They never, ever give an inch. He goes slider back door. Gets himself 1 strike away from getting through this batter. And now we're in a 2-2 count. Let's see how he goes for the finish. He's going to go for the sinker up is my guess. That's his put-away pitch. Good pitch, doesn't get it. Now we're in a 3-2 situation. He is now... Let's see how many pitches he's in. That's now 28 pitches into his outing, as he also pitched the 9th. And we're going to go to the 3-2. This is a huge pitch in this game.
Got him.
Ends up throwing a perfect chase fastball right above the zone, gets the punchy, and gets himself to the 2-out situation with the bases loaded. So, in a sense, the strategy sort of has worked to this point. He gets within 1 out of kind of doing the job and allowing no runs this inning and setting his team up to win. But at the same time, he's still walking that tightrope line where any type of damage here or hit here sets up the crooked number and kind of makes the other team's job even easier. And this is where I think it's just one of those human nature things where teams just can't trust themselves. They just can't help it. They have a dominant pitcher like Hader on the mound. They become pot committed. We're giving up no runs this inning. We're giving up no runs this inning. We're going to walk Ramirez. We're going to pitch around Santana. We're going to rely on our guy with the big strikeout rate to strike everybody out. Problem is, it doesn't always work out like that. So now it comes to a huge leverage at-bat. The whole game's on the line right here, and we're going to see how this at-bat goes with Angel Martinez.
March 27th at the beginning of the season. 30th pitch of the night is popped up.
Hader goes to a perfect pitch, dotted 96-mile-an-hour pitch up and in.
0-1 to Angel Martinez.
It's a beautiful pitch. Now he's going to go slider off that.
Good stop by.
This is not a very good pitch. This ball starts non-competitive. It's very low out of the hand. The last pitch was just up here. And this pitch, as you can see, it starts very low, and it's never really a threat to get him to swing. And I think the hitter here, Martinez, was able to kind of just eliminate slider in this situation as we go to the 1-1 pitch, and ultimately the pitch that did end up deciding this game.
That ball
goes back to the heater up and in. Martinez makes a nice swing adjustment. Doesn't hit it hard, but when he got the Crawford boxes in left, he's able to sneak it out in left for a grand slam. 97.2 miles an hour at 40 degrees. Not great contact. It's a good pitch by Hader. Unfortunately, it's identical to the 0-0 pitch he threw, and Martinez did a nice job adjusting to that pitch. You see Espada there in the dugout, looking a little bit miffed at how this all kind of went down, but that's a crooked number. That's a 4-spot, folks. So now it's 10-6 Guardians. So they really did. They sold out trying to get no runs to score here, and it ends up backfiring in a crooked inning. Now it makes it nice and easy for Clase. He comes in the game. He doesn't have to care at all about the runner on second. They don't have to hold him. They don't care if he scores. It's not an earned run anyway. It makes it super simple mentally for the pitcher. He gets to go right at everybody. He's going to get a weak fly out for the first out. He's going to get
First at
A
bat.
ground out for the
Well
second
past
out.
that halfway point. But you're going to have some.
And he's going to punch out Cam Smith to end the game with a filthy 98-mile-an-hour cutter.
And
That's disgusting.
finishes off the game
But the
at
point is,
10-6
he didn't have to
finals.
worry. He could come right out there and just kind of do his thing. And I think a lot of times, as relief pitchers, we just want to know what the job is. Is the job here to sell out for no runs, or is the job here to kind of play the conservative game? If that run scores, no big deal. We can match them in the bottom half. Or it's just a tough thing. It's a human nature choice. And a lot of times, baseball players are gamblers by nature. They like to take the risk, big reward. In this situation, it totally backfires. And that's part of the reason why I think this rule is a tough rule change, in my opinion. I don't hate it because I like the strategy, I like the added elements. But at the same time, I think you're a home team for a reason. That's supposed to be an advantage. And really, as a typical 9-inning game wears down, as you get closer and closer to the ninth inning, the advantage generally shifts to the home team. If the game's tied, all they need is one run. It's a lot harder to pitch like the bottom of the ninth in a tie game than it is with a lead or anything like that. So when a guy comes in to pitch the bottom of the ninth on the road, he knows he has zero margin for error. One swing can end the game. If he gets a man on third, one pitch in the dirt could end the game. There's a lot of things that can end the game right there. So he's kind of walking the tightrope in that sense. But then now, as soon as the things get switched to extra innings, as soon as the game gets switched to extra inning strategy, I think the onus goes a little more on the visiting team. They get the first choice they get the first choice at what they want to do strategy wise. Do we sell out for the no runs, or do we kind of play conservative? Kind of like in golf, like laying up, making sure that you set yourself up for a nice approach shot to the green, or do you just like try to go over the water, go over the trees? Two different strategies, but I think the numbers have bore out that the tendency to go for broke here and try to throw the zero up has sometimes led to some bigger innings, and that's where I think the statistical imbalance comes into play and why we've seen 53% of the road teams win in these extra inning games. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. Please write something in the comments. Engage in the chat if you can. I don't even know where the chat is. I have to figure all that out, but what do you think? Do you think this is a factor? Feels like a factor to me. And I just wanted to touch on that really quick before we jump into some of the other topics, which are mostly just fun stuff today. There was some entertaining baseball yesterday all across the league. We had inside the park home runs, one for a walk-off, which I think we're going to watch. But we also had this matchup last night, and I just want to show all the pitches between this rookie and arguably the greatest player in the game today. And that's Shohei at the plate versus Jacob Mizorowski of the Brewers. They got to face each other 3 times last night, and it did not disappoint. So let's just go straight to the Shohei at-bats, and we'll break these down. All right, the Miz is going to start off this game as Shohei's the leadoff hitter.
First pitch coming. Right down the middle, strike one at
Just 100 right down the middle. Let's go right to the curveball.
Last night for Ottavino. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
It's nasty. Comes out of the same tunnel as that fastball. About medium to low height. And it hits the deck. I mean, a 90.3 mile an hour curveball is almost a misread. You never see anything like that.
Nasty. That breaking pitch coming off the.
But here comes the third pitch. 0-2 pitch.
And a drive into center field. It's
God!
1-0
108, 27, 431, dead center. If this isn't a welcome to the big leagues moment, I don't know what it is, what it would be. When I remember when I was a rookie, the first time you face like the true greats, like the guys that you look up to, the guys that you see on TV, on SportsCenter, MLB Network all the time, and that guy's in the box, and then they do something off of you, I think that's kind of a big welcome to the big leagues moment. I think this was probably that for Miz. I mean, Ottavino crushes this ball. It's a typical miss. He doubles up on the same pitch and he just misses in the danger zone. You can't miss the Shohei down and in, and that's exactly what he does. Yeah, if I was designing a breaking ball, you got to get it down here. He throws it a little more in this zone, and obviously Shohei does not miss it. And that's why he's Shohei. It's unbelievable how hard he hits the ball. I want to see his swing here because it looks so simple. Oh my God, it's just beautiful. There's not a lot of big movement here. He just kind of gets on his front toe and just shifts his hits, Trust his hands. And he's going to hit a ball at any part of the park, in any park. All right, second at bat. Let's get to it.
Mizorowski attacks him at bat number 2. Swing and a miss.
I love it. Mizorowski going right at him with the 101. He said, all right, maybe we'll just play a little hardball.
Jam foul.
Now he gives him the different breaking ball. This time it's the slider. It's coming in at 96, which is just insane. And he gets it to a good location. Kind of the dead zone, which is what I think Max Scherzer coined. The dead zone's kind of medium height through this band towards the left-handed hitter. That's where this ball comes. As you can see, Shohei can't get his hands extended. So, it's also 96. It's basically a cutter, like a... yeah, it's basically a cutter, kind of a typical cutter shape, but with his extension, his speed, this ball got on Shohei really fast. So now he's in the driver's seat, 0-2.
0-2. Foul back, went fastball.
Oof, 102 up and away. That's a very good swing through location. I love the way he's going right at him in the second at bat. Now he goes back to the curveball, kind of pulls off it a little bit. But now we're in the battle here. 1-2 count.
Foul back again, and a challenge.
Oof, once again, goes right at him. 102, top of the zone.
Foul back again.
Shohei takes a nice rip at this. Can we watch Shohei swing on this real quick? He takes a huge cut at this ball. All right, shakes out the hand a little bit. Now, if you're Shohei in this at-bat, I think you have to look for something to pop anything in the upper part of the zone. If it starts low, it's likely a curveball, and it's going to be down. So I think he's looking for anything to start up to fire. Obviously, he doesn't want to fire too high up. That's the trick. But he's looking for something to start in the top half of the zone.
Like.
All right, Miz coming with another slider. Yeah, and that's why he's able to take this one so easy. This pitch, like we said, he's looking for something to pop up. This pitch starts too low. And that's why it's a pretty easy take, and he gets himself to 2-2. It's a really good curveball, and a nice spoil by Shohei. I think he swings at this one again as this ball kind of pops a little bit higher than the slider did. This ball's headed to about this height, so that's why Shohei's going to engage on it. Only problem is it doesn't get to the kill zone. It only gets to the bottom of the zone. Shohei's able to tap it foul and buy himself another pitch, which is really what the great hitters do. They just buy himself another pitch. And now Miz is going to go back to it, and this time he gets it to the kill zone. So that's a good adjustment. It wasn't a great swing. It was kind of a protect me swing by Shohei, but But in this case, he does get it to the kill zone, and he gets his first punch out of the future Hall of Famer. And actually, I really love the way that Mizorowski kind of emotes off the mound. A little bang bang. I like it. This kid's bringing a lot of energy. He's really fun to watch. All right, so let's watch the third at bat and see how they battle this time.
Part 3.
Interesting choice. Tries to go first pitch changeup, kind of go off the menu. Doesn't want to get ambushed there. So when you're not sure what the hitter's sitting on, whether it's a fastball or a breaking ball, which are your two primary pitches, sometimes you go off the menu. So for me, that would be like a cutter or changeup. In this case, he goes changeup. And I think that's a good choice sometimes because if you're not sure what the guy's looking for between your main two pitches, you can be pretty sure he's not going to go for your third pitch. So you try to place the changeup in there. Unfortunately, he really misses arm side, and it happens.
Koenig is loosening in the Brewers' pen.
Looks like he's going to go back to the curveball. This was a bad pitch. Shohei homered on the curveball the first at bat. This ball pops. It pops up and away. So this is a fire, and then it ends up right in the hitting zone. You can tell by Shohei's reaction that he really wants this pitch back. See it from the side. You can really see his face. Oh, he wanted that pitch back. All right. So now that's going to take us to the 1-1 count.
26 pitches.
Change of curveball so far.
And that's back to the
Non-competitive slider in. Shohei gets ahead. 2-1 count.
On the ground.
Interesting that he goes back to the curveball again. I don't love this call. This is another very hittable pitch on a pitch that he's already homered on. I mean, for this ball to end up here, this is very similar location to the homer.
On the ground,
And
foul
for my money,
on
he
the
got
first
away
base
with one
side.
on this one. All right, but anyway, we get to 2-2.
Somehow
This
got
is
a
a
piece
good
of that
pitch now. He goes to the
changeup. That was in the
changeup,
right-hand
tries to go
back.
back to something that he's not looking for. I don't know how Shohei fouls this off. This is an excellent battle.
Somehow got a piece
Man,
of
that's
that
a good
changeup.
pitch.
That was in the right-handed
You can
batter.
see Shohei's really engaged in this at bat. Look at this body language right
Somehow
here.
got a piece of that changeup. That was in the right-handed batter's ball.
Oof. All right. Hasn't shown the heater yet. Here it comes. A little too high. Good take. Good take.
Number 6.
He's gonna go at him again. Challenge heater 3-2.
Oh, just
Diablo,
missed.
man.
That's ball
He had a
four.
lot riding on that
Mizorowski.
pitch. He threw that pitch with full conviction. Ends up being just a bit inside. I think he scares Shohei with this one. So this would have worked. He would have had the
just
freeze
missed.
on an inside fastball. Look at Shohei. Nice. So that's it. 3 great at-bats. Shohei gets him in the first at-bat. Miz gets him in the second at-bat. Kind of a draw in the third at-bat. Obviously, Shohei gets the advantage with the win there, with the walk. So these are the type of matchups we live for. This is the first time that Mizorowski ever faced Shohei, so he had a little bit of the advantage going in. He decided to go right at him with his best stuff. He learned the hard way the first time that this is a guy that you cannot make mistakes to. And then the second time he really bared down. I thought he threw really, really well in that second at-bat. Third at-bat was a great battle. Sometimes you don't give in and, you end up walking a guy, but it's better than him hitting the ball somewhere hard in the air. And ultimately, I like the way he sold out for it. If you look at Mizorowski's body language on this last pitch, I mean, look at the way he bounces off the mound, really wanting this pitch. I just love the enthusiasm. He's got really good enthusiasm. And I'm looking forward to watching this kid pitch some more. That was a really, really exciting matchup right there. Okay, now I'm going to stop real quick and I'm going to try to figure out how to get to this chat because I am very confused about that. YouTube Studio. Where are you, chat? Where are you, chat? All right, let me shrink down my streaming site. No, I'm sorry, guys. Whoever's watching, I'm really grateful for the viewers, but I can't figure out why I'm not in the chat. Okay. All right, no big deal. Let's see what we else have on the docket. We're only 23 minutes in. I'll do a few more minutes, so there's a couple more things to look at. All right, let's go look at the Inside the Park walk-off home run last night. It was Giants and Phillies. This one just struck a chord with me because I was in the building for a San Francisco Giants walk-off Inside the Park home run. Years ago, it was Angel Pagan against the Rockies, I believe. 2013, 2014, one of my first years with the teams. Talk about a devastating way to lose. I mean, it's one thing to give up a home run, but like to watch the ball ricochet and have fielders chasing it and all that type of stuff is just like, I just remember the feeling. Because back in the day, we had no bullpen, so we were just all in the dugout, even the relievers. I might have even pitched in that game, just sitting there with our jaw dropped. It was on a Sunday. I think we got swept. We just couldn't catch a break. We couldn't catch a win. Obviously, those were great Giants teams, but Inside the Park walk-off home run is rough. So I'm not gonna go through the whole inning. We'll just go right to the Inside the Park home run. It's a first pitch heater from Jordan Romano to Patrick Bailey. Hits the shit out of it. It's 103-4 at 29. He thinks it's a homer off the bat, but look at this ricochet. It's off the concrete, and then Brandon Marsh is like, oh boy, I gotta get going. And by the time he gets there, it's just way too late. Flings it in. Sosa, tries to fling it through. And this game is over, and it's absolute pandemonium. Everybody's jumping up and down. Nobody knows exactly what just happened. It's a mob scene. Looks like they're trying to shred his jersey. I don't know when this trend started of the shredding of the jersey, but I do remember when I was with the Cardinals, we had a vet, Nick Punto, and he used to call himself the Shredder, and he used to take extra pride in ripping the buttons or ripping everything off your body, basically, if you got the walk-off hit. And maybe that's where it started. Maybe somebody knows in the comments when the shredding started, but obviously he gets his jersey shredded here, getting the hugs all around. I think we should look at a couple different angles of this. Here's the replay of the pitch. I mean, this is a home run probably every ballpark but this one anyway. But the way that this ball hits off right around here somewhere, yeah, bink, and then just ricochets back, and Marsh is just a little bit towards the grass, so it gets onto the track. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. It's a totally helpless feeling. But this is an electric moment to be in the ballpark. Let's watch it from the high home cam. You know, Bailey's running. Bailey's running. Hustling, hustling. I mean, you can see. He's going to be, by the time Marsh picks up this ball, he's almost to third. They got to throw it 400 feet in. No chance. What a moment. What an absolute moment. And you can see the Giants dugout over here. They're already out of the... There's guys out of the dugout as Bailey gets the third. This is college style. This is high school. This is fun. This is little kids in their backyard running around. That's what it's all about. Let's see. Wow, we got quite a bit of video here. All right, so game's over. They're walking off the field. Here comes Lucille. Here comes Lucille, this guy. The mascot. All the way to wave the giant flag. Crowd's still on their feet. This would have been a really fun game to be at. You know, probably frustrating night all night. They had one run entering the ninth, and then 4 batters later, they got a walk-off inside the park home run. It's a lot of magic in that ballpark for the Giants. It can be a really sketchy place to be the late inning reliever, and I know that sucked for Romano, but it's great for baseball. It was a great win. Really cool moment. Thought we would watch that again. Let's check it out one more time on the broadcast. It's just a perfect ricochet. I'm actually surprised the fan didn't try to interfere with that, honestly. Man. What a feeling. Freezing cold. Freezing cold in July, San Fran. Guys in jackets running out. People don't realize how cold it is there in the summer, but gets shredded, gets Gatorade dumped. That's the reward you get for doing something awesome in the big leagues. You get your clothes ripped in half, get your hair all sticky from the Gatorade. That's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, so that's it for that. Let's go back to our notes here and see if there's anything else I want to look at. I do want to watch. Let's see if we can just. I haven't seen any of these, but I want to go back to that Houston-Cleveland game, and I just want to watch the matchups between Hunter Brown. Didn't have a great start last night, but he's been awesome all year, and Jose Ramirez. I just feel like this is going to be an interesting couple matchups to break down. Some of the best players in the game. And sure enough, looks like Jose clips him the first at bat. So let's see how Hunter Brown goes back.
Run in the 5th inning to give the Guardians a 4-0 lead.
First pitch sinker away. Now, it is important to remember that in a perfect world, Jose Ramirez wants to pull everything. It doesn't matter if it's inside, outside, upside, downside. He wants to pull every pitch. He does have opposite field power, but that's not his intention when he's hitting. He's trying to get out around it and hook everything in the air, pull side. As you can see, that swing is telling the tail right there. That's a absolute hack, absolute daddy hack right here, trying to hit this ball to Texarkana.
After the 1-0 pitch and fouls
there,
back.
foul back 1-1. I was going to go right to the curveball off the 4-seam. It's a nice take. Ball probably started a little bit too low. Hunter Brown's best pitches are his fastballs. He's got a good curveball too, but that's where he makes his money right there, is that high 4-seam above the zone. Ramirez, very aggressive hitter, goes after it. Comes up empty, and we get to the 2-2.
Span too often, but he's trying to go get that fastball up.
He got that pitch.
Ooh, it's the pull changeup.
Right field, and that is
I don't think changeup was a bad choice. I think Ramirez had to respect the fastball after getting beat on that previous fastball. And if this changeup is located a little more, like, hold on. This changeup is located a little more down here. Anywhere over here, he probably gets the rollover, but he ends up pulling it a little bit into the zone, as you can see here. And I mean, it's just an automatic. It's just automatic. His swing is so dialed, just pull side fly ball, unbelievably dialed. That's why he's Jose Ramirez. All right, so he gets him the first at bat. Let's see how Hunter goes at him the second at bat. Well, he doesn't. Intentional walk, and he's only going to get to face him one more time with one more pitch. So we'll watch it. So an intentional walk. I don't know what the circumstance was here. Really quick, let's see that. Hunter Brown, third inning. Double, fly out, double, intentionally walk. Okay, so clearly in the scouting report, as we can see, because they also walked him in the ninth, obviously, against Hader, we can see that the strategy is don't let Ramirez beat us. But, all right, let's watch the third at-bat. It's a one pitch. Not surprising because Ramirez is so aggressive.
A little too much of the strike zone for Hunter.
Yeah, sinker away again. Tries to pull it. Ends up kind of pulling off it and popping it up. That's why I don't mind sinker to Jose Ramirez right on left. You want something running away from a guy where his whole energy is, you know, when he comes set, his feet are not straight here towards the target. His feet are kicked out towards first. His hip is way gone. I mean, these are all things that they teach you not to do, and it works for him. I would never critique Jose Ramirez's swing. I think it's a great swing, but I think as a pitcher, you're looking for stuff that's going to run away from him in this direction, and that's where a sinker makes a pretty good choice. So this really ends up only being two at-bats between one of the best pitchers in the league, one of the best hitters in the league, but one pulled changeup gets clipped for a homer, one well-located sinker gets the pop-up. It's a pitcher who's looking to be aggressive. It's a hitter that looks to be aggressive. Pretty good matchup all around. And I think that's going to be it for today. We did a really good job, I thought, of going quickly today. Only 31 minutes so far in the stream. We covered 4 topics. I really would love to hear you guys' thoughts on the extra inning rule, the ghost runner. For me, I guess I just want to reiterate that the most disappointing thing for me is just the fact that it kind of swings the odds a little bit more to the road team. And for me, I think the home team should have an advantage. I think it's important. It's built into the original rules of baseball. Home team gets to hit last as the game winds down in a close game. It's an advantage to the home team. I don't love that this swings the advantage to the visiting team. That would be my only critique. I do like a lot of the strategy. It's fun to talk about. But as a pitcher, I think the best mentality when you pitch the top half of an extra inning these days is just to pretend that runner's not there, get the first out, get the second out, and if the runner's still on base with 2 outs, you try to go for the kill and get that third out. But if that run scores, you just brush it off, you keep it to the 1, and you give your boys a chance to answer in the bottom half of the inning. I think that overall that will serve the home team better than selling out all the time for the no runs. But I'd love to see a further, a deeper dive on this, more data. But that's my sense, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. That's it for Baseball and Coffee today. Today I had to go with Dunkin' Donuts as I was out and about this morning. Didn't have enough time really to get my beans right for my espresso, but a little iced Americano, Dunkin' Donuts, hard to go wrong. I did go to college in Boston after all, so this is the official drink of Massachusetts in my mind. And thanks so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad more people are watching. This is going to be fun. We're going to keep this going. And thanks so much, and I'll see you tomorrow.